What's going on, guys? Welcome to a special Beyond Politics. This is the place where we go in depth on relevant political topics of the day. I'm your host, Jared, and with me, as always, is Seth. We got a pretty interesting story here. We decided to dedicate a whole
breaking
video
news.
to it. Yeah, breaking news. It's getting a lot of attention, and I think
We thought it would be prudent to do this before
the inauguration.
Yeah.
So we're gonna release this pretty soon here, and you've probably already heard about it. It's the whole controversy of Donald Trump and John Lewis kind of back and forth scenario, which has spawned 40 congressmen,
Over 40 congressmen
to boycott Donald Trump's inauguration.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to kind of lay out the story, and then we're going to talk about it a little bit, our reactions and how we think it could have been handled or what should happen with it. So this is the video that kind of started it off. John Lewis was being interviewed, and then he said this.
Even trying to work with people, it's going to be hard. It's going to be very difficult. I don't see this president-elect as a legitimate president.
You do not consider him a legitimate president. Why is that?
I think the Russians participated in helping this man get elected, and they helped destroy the candidacy of Hillary Clinton. I don't plan to attend the inauguration. It will be the first one that I miss since I've been in the Congress.
So then after John Lewis said those remarks, Donald Trump, of course, fired back on Twitter in his typical fashion. So
Donald Trump, of course, heard someone saying something bad about him and lashed back out in a series of tweets, and they read as follows, and I quote, Congressman John Lewis should spend more time on fixing and helping his district, which is in horrible shape and falling apart, not to mention crime-infested, rather than falsely complaining about the election results. All talk, no action or results. Sad. And then later on in the day, he threw out a couple of additional tweets that said that were, and I quote, John Lewis said about my inauguration, quote, it will be the first one that I've missed. Wrong or lie. He boycotted Bush. Also because he, quote, thought it would be hypocritical to attend Bush's swearing in. He doesn't believe Bush is the true elected president. Sound familiar?
Yeah, which has been confirmed by John Lewis's officials. They did confirm that he didn't attend that inauguration either.
Because Bush
because
didn't win the popular vote.
Yeah, I guess he just doesn't really understand how the republic works, but that's all right.
Yeah, like
he's just a congressman, no big deal. You don't really need to understand our government.
Like, I mean, he's allowed to want the popular vote to be the way it happens, but
to say he's illegitimate,
proactively do it. Don't retroactively do it. Like, you can't be mad at something that just followed the rules.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, that's how our government works. I'm sorry. We're not run by strictly popular vote.
Yeah.
We're a republic.
Yeah.
And so I mean, this is causing a lot of controversy, obviously, because Lewis is saying he's not going to attend, and now you have over 40, like we had mentioned earlier, also now saying they're going to stand with Lewis. There's been a big backlash about saying that like Donald Trump just viciously attacked the civil rights activists, because John Lewis has done a lot to help heal this country through when there was racial problems. I mean, he was one of the big six leaders who helped organize and participated in the March on Washington in 1963. He's been instrumental in many pieces of legislation that are ended the legalization of racial segregation. Like, he got rid of the racial divides. He's even gone so much with participating in these nonviolent protests where he was beaten.
He was clubbed in the head.
Yeah, he got a concussion. His skull's fractured. He keeps the scar. He probably keeps the scar to remind him, but he's just a scar you can see. He was that was from what they call Bloody Sunday, which, as a direct result, President Johnson issued an immediate statement saying he was going to promise voting rights for them and send it through Congress. And so he's done a lot of great stuff. And so that's where I have an issue with the way Trump reacted, because I think up until the very end of his tweets, he was totally allowed to say it. Obviously, he's allowed to say everything, but I thought it was not that bad. But then when he says like it's all talk, no action or results, I think you're kind of going too far there, you know? Because he has done great stuff, and then to try to delegitimize all that he's done by saying there's no action or results is kind of not right.
Now, I don't. When he said all talk, no action, I don't think he was referring to what he did back in the civil rights era. I think he was more talking about for his district now, and we can kind of talk a little bit about if his district really is failing.
Well, I mean, it's doing better statistically.
Yeah.
Over time, it's improving. It's still not great.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to run through some of Atlanta's, because his district includes parts of Atlanta and then a couple of cities outside of Atlanta, but a big part of it
Yeah, I
is
mean,
Atlanta.
just to hit some high points. I mean, the education is better than national average. However, the unemployment is a little bit lower than the national average, and the crime is higher. Almost double,
Triple.
or almost triple.
In 2015, the FBI said it was triple the national average.
Yeah, so the crime infested. I mean, it's the problem with it is more how Donald Trump
You
handled
said it.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
why would you don't have to say crime infested.
No, and the thing that gets me is yes, John Lewis did some great things back in the civil rights era. I don't really think that there's any, people who are heroes or people who are villains. I think there's just people who do heroic things. So yes, I think he did a heroic thing. However, I don't think that makes him immune to criticism now.
Doesn't give him a free pass.
Yeah,
For the rest of his
so
life.
if he still says something, like Donald Trump is not a legitimate, or he doesn't believe Donald Trump is a legitimate president, that's just, I mean, that's a false statement, because I think we can all,
Well, it's
You
not
gotta
a false
find-
statement in the fact that he said that he doesn't see Donald Trump. He never said he wasn't. What he said was, I don't see the president as a legitimate president.
well,
And
yeah, but if the
that's not
color's
false.
black and it's really black, and I say I see it as yellow, it's not yellow, it's still black.
Well, you don't know. Maybe your eyes are messed up. Like, you know
No,
what I'm saying?
I mean,
Like, there's
it's
details you don't.
Donald
to
Trump
say-
is a legitimate president, though. He was elected in the same process that
I
every
would-
other
I would say
president
so,
is
yes.
elected. He's a legitimate president. We all should come to that common ground. But yet
Yeah.
also we can also acknowledge that Donald Trump did not handle it in the best way, as he often does things.
Yeah, it was too much of a like. He should have just let this. Like, because he's garnered so much support for Lewis to not.
I mean,
go.
think how much more effective he could have been if he had just said, I deeply respect John Lewis for everything that he did in the civil rights era. He was a true hero and a proponent, during this difficult time for African Americans. However, I respectfully disagree with him here. The people have spoken, and our government system has drawn the result. I am a legitimate president, and I hope that he will attend the inauguration. Like, how much more effective would that have been?
Right.
Right.
And
How much
well-tempered
How much
and-
better would that have been
Yeah.
if he had approached it that way? Now you have 40 Democratic congressmen not attending the inauguration. Frankly, I don't think Donald Trump cares.
Yeah.
But it further divides.
Yes.
And they're both guilty of it. I think what John
Oh,
Lewis
yeah, they
said
both
in the
messed
beginning,
up
he
here.
shouldn't. There's no reason to bring it up. I don't think he needed to say it at all. And the way Donald Trump handled it, there's no reason to handle it like that either. You could have handled it much better. If your main goal is to unify the country, which should be the main goal of the president, is to kind of try to bring people together, then
Yeah.
he failed at that. So
So you think Lewis should not have said? I mean, wasn't he was?
I mean,
asked,
he has
and
the
he
right.
just
He
answered
has the right
question.
to say it.
He just answered the question. Though. Like, was he supposed to lie and just be like, "No, I like just not say anything"? I mean, I think that it's fine for him to say he's not legitimate. I think it makes him look dumb to say that he's not because of the popular vote. His issues with Russia maybe tampering, it hasn't been proven yet. People keep saying there's reports of it definitely happening, but we haven't seen them, so
Yeah.
we really don't know if there's any weight to that.
Yeah.
It seems disingenuous to not have proof and then to
And
say
then
that
throw
it
something
actually
out
is
there.
happening. You know?
Yeah. Plus,
Um,
I mean, let's be honest here. The Russians, they exposed Hillary Clinton, yes, but they didn't write her emails.
And they didn't. Yeah,
right?
they didn't.
They didn't do those things. So I mean, all that happened is the voter got more informed. Now, obviously, I'm not in favor of Russia tampering with the United States election system. I think that's
Yes.
definitely wrong. However, at the end of the day, that is what happened. The voter learned true
Yeah.
things about another candidate.
Well, there. I mean, he specifically also had issues with the idea that there were, because with Bush also, that there were issues with the voting and machines, actually. So maybe he thinks Russia actually added votes or took away votes, like the number.
Well, I don't think there's any proof of
There's
that.
no
anywhere.
proof of that,
Yeah,
but maybe
so-
that's what he was thinking.
I think overall his statement is false. So I mean, he has the point to say it, but I mean, to say that Donald Trump is not a legitimate president is just false. It
Well,
just
said he didn't
is.
see
He was
him as
elected.
legitimate. I
Yeah.
think there's a difference.
Well, but still, him not seeing him as a legitimate president
Is dumb.
It's not how our system works.
And it's-
him
I think it's
saying
a
that the
misguided.
Russians discredited Hillary's candidacy, I believe, is also false.
I think
because
she discredited her own.
discredited her own candidacy.
Yes.
So I think all in all, the statement is just false.
I
but-
wouldn't say, I don't think you could say the statement's false, but I would just say that
Well,
it's
none of what he
misguided.
said is true.
Well, he said that he doesn't see him as a legitimate president is a completely true statement. He doesn't see him as a president. Whether or not he's right or wrong in him legitimacy, the fact that he doesn't see him, you can't tell him that you can't tell him what he sees.
Okay. Well, his
is wrong.
perspective of what he sees is wrong.
I would say so.
I mean, according to the United States Constitution, which is the law of the
Yes.
land, he's wrong.
Yes.
So-
I think he's a legitimate president for sure.
Yeah.
And, but again, I don't know, because he should not be an idiot and understand that we're
It's
not
just really-
democratic.
I think it's very disrespectful to and now you can argue that maybe Donald Trump has said
Because the
some
president has even came forward and said that he's our president now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and to
Obama's
not
come
attend
forward.
an inauguration as a congressman is
Yeah.
very disrespectful to the seat or to the office of the United States presidency.
Imagine if someone boycotted Obama's.
Yeah, exactly.
inauguration.
Imagine if the tables were turned and you have 40 Republicans who say Obama's not a legitimate president and they don't go. I mean, do you think for a second that they would not be labeled as racists or
Yeah.
or,
Well, because there
you know,
was the whole
bigoted
thing
or
with
something?
the birthers when Obama was taking office.
Yeah.
And I think it's similar with the Russian thing. I mean, the conservatives and the Republicans, they wanted so badly to not have Obama. They were trying to find something to make it so he could not be president. And
Yeah,
so
but
they had this
Yeah, I
crazy
agree.
false idea that he wasn't even born in America. So there we go. He can't be president.
Mm-hmm.
Proven false. Same with the Russians. Well, now these liberals on the left are thinking, well, we need some way to make sure that Donald Trump can't be president. So we're going to say that Russia tampered with the election. Well, that's also, I think, false. I mean, there's no proof of it
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
And so I think both sides are guilty of this. And it's like people need to just grow up and understand your candidate doesn't always win. And
Yeah.
it's okay. And just, what is it helping to just constantly be like, well, nope, not my president. Like
Exactly.
2 years down the road,
Yeah.
I mean,
And if you're really trying to kind of grow relations with people and stuff like that and unify, then you got to at least try and find common ground. If you can't find the common ground to agree that Donald Trump is a legitimate president, then I don't know. I mean, it makes it pretty hard to find common ground in other places. That's a pretty reasonable thing to agree on, to say the least.
yeah, I mean, you can be like, I don't like him.
Yeah, no, I mean,
But-
you can absolutely say that. But
In his position, he
yeah.
kind of won it fair and square.
And it's just, I don't know, you see the media kind of, going all out.
Oh,
and
they are
defending-
having a heyday.
I know. Well, yeah, man. They're ever since Donald Trump has been elected, they have been freaking losing their minds. And they're jumping to the defense of John Lewis here because, like we said, he did do heroic things. But I think the main premise of this is just because you do something great and heroic doesn't mean that, you can't be questioned or you're exonerated of any kind of criticism.
For
the
sure,
things you
yeah.
say. You know what I mean? You're still held accountable for your actions and the things that you say.
Yes, and yeah, it. Now that you got me so upset that Donald Trump didn't respond how you said, that would have been such a better response.
Wouldn't that? Yeah, it really
and it would
would
have just made the whole thing mute, and he would have been able. John Lewis would have been able to say that.
I
and
know.
he would have looked good for the left, and then Trump would have looked great.
Yeah.
But when he constantly just attacks people that attack him, why can't you just take criticism and absorb it?
Sure.
And if you don't,
And it's a more effective anyways, because if he had responded that way, who would have looked like the instigator and the jerk in the process? Not
Yeah.
him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't. It's just
and then
it's much
when he
smarter
reached out, and I
tactics.
think he overstepped his bounds with what he said about Atlanta and his district, but they're both just not good situation. And
Yeah. But we'll see. It'll be interesting. I mean, this will be coming out right before the inauguration, so it'll definitely be interesting to watch and see if those 40 congressmen really don't go, because I'm pretty sure that would be in a historic amount of congressmen.
Yeah, I don't
who
know,
would
but I
decide
would
to
imagine
boycott
that.
an inauguration.
Yeah. Hey, it might be better though.
Hey, maybe the taxpayer can save some money not having to pay for as much security for all these people going. You know,
This is true.
there's got to be a
This is
silver
very
lining
true.
somewhere. But anyways, be sure and comment below, guys. Tell us what you think about this situation. Is John Lewis a hero? Is what he said justified? Did Donald Trump speak too quickly, or was Donald Trump justified? Let us know. As always, guys, be sure and like our videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're on iTunes now, and Google Play, whatever your favorite podcasting service is. Be sure and go there, subscribe, review. That really helps us out. And yeah, all right, guys. Well, we'll see you next week. Always stay informed.